right, let's walk you through what's in the VO₂ Master kit, the VO₂ Master box. This is what you get when you order a standard VO₂ Master kit. You get this nice Nanook suitcase. You have a mask. Usually it's a small size, but this needs to fit the face of the person you're going to be testing. If you'll test multiple people, you need to make sure that you have mask that fits everyone. The best way to check it is when you get this, you use this ruler. You simply place it on the nose bone like this, and you can check on the bottom. For me, it says medium, but that will differ quite a lot, and it's not necessarily related to how big the person is. You can have a 100-kilo male that uses a small mask, and you can also have a smaller person that uses a large mask. And this is really important to have the correct mask size. The other things that you need to choose before you start testing is the user pieces. This is what you choose when you assemble the unit. There are 3 sizes. Inside it says R for the smallest one. It's for resting metabolic rate testing. These work for people at rest. There's only one size that fits all, and you don't use this for any type of activity. Then you have the 2 sizes that you use when you test a person working. The medium size is for ventilation of 15 to 180 liters per minute. That user piece will fit most people. If you are working with elite athletes, you should consider choosing the large user piece. That will overlap the medium user piece by quite a bit. It starts at 25 as opposed to 15 liters per minute, but it will go all the way up to 250 liters per minute, which is quite a large ventilation. The last piece you also need to remember when you assemble the units is the filters. In the standard kit, you get 50 filters, and you use 1 filter per test. This is one of the crucial things that you calibrate for when you do the flow calibration. So let's dive into the actual unit. This is the VO₂ Master, the actual analyzer. When we start to assemble it, the first thing we do is to take a filter. The flow calibration is when we actually calibrate for the different filters. So we change the filter before every test. I insert it carefully and make sure that it fits nicely at the bottom. Then for this test, I will be using the medium user piece, and I can slide it in like this. Make sure it goes all the way to the end and that the opening is facing upwards. Then I put it at the table, because now I'll do the zero calibration. If you're outdoor, make sure it's on a secluded spot where you don't have any wind interfering, and it's on a horizontal surface. I will touch it until the indicator lights turn on, and then I'll leave it for 10 to 15 seconds. You will see that the blue flashing light changes color into a more whitish glow. Then it's ready. Let's dive into the actual calibration. We're finished with the zero calibration now, and let's assemble the unit. We start by adding this silicone spacer with the bottom of the analyzer facing up, so the hole is upwards, and not here in the bottom, so it will align very nicely with the exit of the pump. We assemble it like this. Make sure that it's perfectly aligned. We dive into the app. We make sure we chose the medium user piece, so I'll change the user piece to medium. Done. And I also have a medium face size, so I will use the medium mask afterwards. This is also correct. These are crucial to choose correctly in order for the data to make sense. We move forward. In this case, we will choose a graded exercise test. This is the only way you will get an actual report for your graded exercise test, or step test, as many call it. In this case, we will use a running test, so we choose speed. We will have a 10-minute warm-up, and we will start at 12 kilometers per hour. We will have 7-minute step lengths, and the starting intensity of the actual test will be 13 kilometers per hour, and we will increase each step by 1 kilometer per hour. This you can change to fit your test. I move to the next part. I will call this simply test. Next. And here again, you will be prompted to choose the correct user piece size, medium mask size. Next. And now we're ready to watch the metronome. For this part of the calibration, we simply have to follow the metronome when we press start. Okay, so let's start the calibration. We need 10 validated pumps in order to complete the calibration. Don't worry about hitting the ends of the pump. It's important that we get exactly 3 liters on every pump. You can always check the results of your calibration. Will show up on the screen once you've done with the flow calibration. And you can actually see here that in this case, the standard deviation was only 5 milliliters out of the total value of 3.09 liters. So it's quite a low deviation. You can see the minimum value was 3.07 and the maximum value was 3.09. The next part is now exactly the same, but except you don't have to follow the metronome. You simply pump at a normal breathing pattern, and now you calibrate for the oxygen center or gas calibration. You will now calibrate for the amount of oxygen in the air. You will also calibrate for humidity, temperature, and pressure. Notice the ADC value. This is usually above a couple of thousand, between 3,000 to 4,000. And if you see this value drop during calibration, as opposed to what it's usually at, drop significantly, that's a sign that you should look to change the oxygen sensor, or it's about time for you to order a service kit, the annual service kit. All right, so we're ready to assemble the unit for testing. The oxygen calibration went through. When I take this off, I make sure that I don't slide the user piece inside. So I kind of gently touch the inside, and then I open it, take off the silicone spacer, and now I can put on the mask. I try to shake the analyzer as little as possible and be fairly gentle. Now the mask is on. And with this nut, I can now assemble it on the inside. Make sure you press the cap on all the way in and then turn it until you meet resistance to make sure that it doesn't fall off during exercise. So now I'm ready to put the mask on. When I put it on, I make sure that it's sealed all the way around and that the analyzer is level and centered on my face. The instrument was at room temperature when we calibrated now. Once you start to warm up, the instrument will gradually heat up, and at that point it's important to recalibrate to ensure that you get correct values.